Unqualified as Fuck is the ultimate podcast for anyone hustling to find happiness in this crazy world. Whether you're deep in a relationship, stuck in a situationship, heartbroken, or just feeling lost, we've got your back.
Join us as we share our own experiences and guide you on your journey of self-awareness and elevation.
We're committed to offering diverse perspectives because we understand that there's more than one way to get shit done.
By the way, we're with the shits.
So tap in, get lit,
and let's get to the bag. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Unqualified as Fuck podcast. I'm your host, Azar Faraday. This is my co-host, Opulent Six, and we got Jenny B. Thick to the right. Today, we're going to talk about self-love. And I know that everyone talks about self-love. They talk about, what self-love feels like, looks like, but rarely do I hear about the steps that it takes to love yourself, right? So for me, when I was on my journey to loving myself, I was like, well, where is the blueprint? I need to know the blueprint to self-love, okay? So today, we may not be able to give you the full blueprint to self-love, but we're going to share some of the things that helped us grow closer to loving ourselves, and just how to get out of like some dark spaces in your life and get to a space where you know you're worthy of love. Mm-hmm. And for me, I can honestly say that it took me a while to grow to love myself. I've been in a lot of dark spaces. I've been in spaces where I wasn't confident. I've been in spaces where I truly didn't feel like I was worthy of love. Mm. And that looks like a lot of different things, but, self-sabotage is one of them. Putting others before yourself is another. Pouring into others more than you pour into your own self.
I thought you were going to say porn.
Porn?
Like
watching porn.
Watching porn. Like, wait, what?
Maybe watching porn is self-love.
Yeah.
I'm unsure.
It definitely leads to a little self-love.
used to.
It definitely leads to some self-love for me.
Every podcast. Y'all horny up every podcast.
I can't help it.
These little horny toads.
Horny toads.
I could have swore she was saying porn.
Okay. Well,
pouring.
You know what people say about me? Really quick side note. They say that I pronunciate my words
you do.
very clearly. And I'm tired of the disrespect, okay? Because you guys are coming for my voice. But anyways, it's fine. A part of self-love is knowing that fuck y'all.
Yeah, on everything. No, I agree.
Okay, so, but let's get into it. Let's talk about what self-love looks like for everyone. First of all, like, what was your journey, Jan, to self-love? Like, is it something that came naturally? Because I know some people who naturally just always came from an environment of like, I love myself. And there's some people who had to literally work to get there like me. So what was your journey like?
I would have to say I'm not sure. I didn't know I wasn't loving myself.
Ooh.
So I don't know that I even called it that, but I knew that I wasn't feeling happy and fulfilled. So I can't remember exactly under what in what situation my brother said this to me, but he triggered like my first thought to like thinking different. And he said something to me like, your definition of love is wrong. And I was just like, whoa, something to that effect that made me start digging into some things. And the first thing that I looked up was how I was parented. And like, based on how you were parented, like each kid has a different response to how they were parented in the same house. So mine was passive aggressiveness.
Okay.
So I started being like, oh, I'm passive aggressive as hell. I sugarcoated everything. I did not like for people to be mad at me. I did not like rocking the boat. I hated to feel in the middle. I hated to feel like I kind of did it today where I was like, don't make me decide for everybody. Like, I don't like being put in the middle. It's still somewhat a trigger for me to be like, it's all on me.
Yeah.
Or to like divide, or there were so many things. Like, I just started to be really, really aware of my triggers, and I just started diving into them, reading about them, podcasts. But it started, looking at podcasts, reading books, and things just started to make sense. So I just started dealing with the passive aggressiveness first, and then the sugarcoating started to shed. And then I went through a really, really depressive stage of my life. It lasted a long time. I would have to say there's remnants of it probably. And then I just started, I had to start trusting myself. Like it got down to a point where like I didn't want to be asked nothing. Like if someone asked me a question, I would fall apart. Like, what do you want to eat? Like, what do you want to do? Or
Really?
everything. A question, if it had a question mark on the end of it, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Like it was that bad. Like the way I didn't trust myself was crazy.
Do you think that trusting yourself was a part of the self-love?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because if I don't trust myself to make decisions that are best for me, then who is?
Facts.
Yeah. Like I had to start being like, yeah, that's what I want. And if you don't like it, that's okay.
Facts.
If you don't want to stick around because of my decision making, that is also okay. Like as of late, it's a lot more, I would almost want to say like harsh, but like I own myself so much more now than I ever did.
I love that. I'm still working on that. I'm still not there, but
No, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
and I think
know.
you're open. You're open. I think you're open.
Really?
I do.
In what way?
Because like you know what you're going to get when you call me. So that's how I know you want to hear it. Because you know exactly what I'm probably going to tell you. Like, I think at this point, a lot of people might know, like, the direction I'm going to go in.
Yeah, facts.
Is self-reflection.
Facts. 6, what about you?
I'm going to go last. You go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you love to go last. Save the best for last.
I mean, if we're going in order.
Yeah, might as well keep the order.
Okay, so for me, I will say this, and this is not something that I've actually talked about on the podcast or publicly quite yet, and it was something that I wasn't sure I would share, but like growing up, it was really hard because I was more like curvy and I had a bigger butt, and my sisters were all very thin and tall. And like model like. And I'm not tall. I'm 5'6", and I'm, more curvaceous. Even when I was really small, I still had a big butt, bigger boobs. And in my household, that was kind of frowned upon a little bit. So it was just like a constant comparison of, you need to lose weight, or you need to look this way, or you need to do this. And I won't really dig too deep into that, because I, without like exposing things, but I really do feel like it really took a toll on my confidence, And even within that, I still was always admired my sisters. I never like felt jealous of them. I always felt like they were beautiful. But it definitely made me put myself on the back burner. Like if something was to happen, I'll be like, oh, you guys do it. I'll just stay over here. Like, I know I'm not, the one that looks that way. So do it. Go ahead. Like, and, it really broke me down, and I can see how that affected my relationships with men. And, it really just made me lack the self-confidence that I very much so deserve to have. So for me, it took a lot of rebuilding. I had to break down to rebuild, still working on it, still not there 100%. But I will honestly say that it just took me to do the work. And I know that like everything that we want is hidden in the work that we're avoiding. And as soon as you decide to say, I'm going to do the work and actually put in the effort to make the changes, is when you'll start to see it. I don't know one person that says, I wake up early, I meditate, I manifest, I handle my finances, I go to the gym, I talk to myself, give myself affirmations, I spend quality times with the people I love, I'm honest, I have integrity, that has a bad life. I don't. You may have struggles, but you don't have a bad life. So I decided, instead of preaching, meditation, it all sounds cute, but the work is not always cute. And when you decide to say, I'm going to wake up when I don't want to, because everybody likes to have that parent or this person that's like pushing you to do something. But when you have to do it for yourself is when it counts. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go and I'm going to meditate. I'm going to manifest. And sometimes it takes us to get to a really dark place to do that, because for me, it took I was in a depression, and it took me to get to that place to decide I have to do the work. But I hope and pray for a lot of young women out there, or men, that it doesn't take you to get there. Like, do the work now, because when you do that work, it really makes a difference. And one thing you can never fake is being happy, being healed, being saved, being feeling good. Like, you can't fake that funk.
The saved part?
Yeah, the same part. You can't fake
That's
that
confusing.
funk. Okay, I'm just,
No, I'm being funny, but
you can't fake that funk. That's the thing. So, like, just like you can't fake being healthy. You could see someone like, girl, you're not healthy. Like, you can't really fake certain things. And I think that being healthy is a part of having that self-love, that mental health. And when you start to be in relationships, you can, because someone said something that really stuck with me. Are you healed, or are you just not around anything that's triggering you?
Which a lot of people
You get what I'm
try to
saying?
move the pieces around to make sure they're not.
I was before I got in a relationship, I was single. And I was like, I'm good. Like, listen, I've been single for a year. I'm celibate. No one can really even come to me with anything. Like, I'm a whole new woman. Got into a relationship and was like, oh,
damn.
Boom, boom, boom.
There she is.
Childhood trauma. This, that, confidence, insecurity, everything that came to the surface, right? But it's because a lot of the times our relationships are mirrors to the things that we need to work on.
Yeah, that's a part.
And I think that my relationships have been a mirror to the things I need to work on. And I realized, like, oh, wow, I'm not healed. I'm just avoiding the things that are triggering me right now. So sometimes you have to bring all of that to the forefront, and sometimes God will force all of that to the forefront of your life just so you can deal with it in management. And that's what happened to me. And that's what forced me to get into this self-love thing. Still working on it, still going through the motions of it. But I start to feel the difference in myself where I'm like, damn, I value myself more. Like, I can see my worth. If you don't want to be involved in my life, that's on you, because I know what I bring to the table, because I know my worth. And it still creeps in. Oh my God. The insecurities every other day. I could call Jen 6 and be crying and say whatever and then be like, oh, I'm good. Like,
I'm headed to his house. I'm like, you said all that to tell me you on your way.
Exactly. But no, like, that's just, I'm not a robot. You're not a robot. The process is not going to just be a straight line across the board. There's going to be ebbs and flows. That's what life is about. So give yourself grace, forgive yourself. And I think the best way to look at it is two things. This is what helped me. And then I'm going to let 6 go. If you look at a little child, specifically yourself as a child, but let's say that's too difficult. Just say a little child. If they did something wrong, you're going to be like, you shouldn't have never did that. You're so messed up, blah, blah, blah. All that self-deprecating things that we say to ourselves, we wouldn't say that to a child. Like, you got to treat yourself with the same love and compassion you would treat yourself as a child, or you wish you were treated as a child. And another thing is just like someone you love. If I love y'all, I'm not going to, if you call me with something or you call me with something, I'm not going to be like, you should have never did that. Why did you go da-da-da-da-da? I may have to tell you some things that are uncomfortable because sometimes people need reality checks, including yourself, but you're not going to just beat someone up. So don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I'm going to chime in for 2 seconds because part of my healing journey was to realize that I was parenting myself. So my inner child, I was trying to give them provision, all the like freedom that I wanted as a child, but I'm an adult now. So I wasn't like doing the things I need to do for myself because I was trying to appease my inner child. So like the way that you were parented, sometimes you end up still doing that to yourself. And I had to learn through therapy that I was, as an adult, rebelling like I was still a kid. Like, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to.
That's a fact.
Crazy. Like, when my therapist told me that, I was like, wait, run that back? What did you say? Like, it was a whole nother part of my mind. I'm still working on that because I'm still in between this, like, I am grown and I want to do what I want to do. And I'm still this, like, what I need to do for my wellness on top of all that. So we can unpack that in a minute. I want to hear.
That's real, though. I just want to touch on this.
It's
really
so
quick.
real.
It's like even the parenting style of like, that's what was in my head. Like sometimes I would be like, you look at yourself, you don't look good, you need to lose this way. You need to do this. Like, and it's just like, you don't have to treat yourself like that. You don't deserve that, you know? And, it's just hard, but it's definitely, it's work. You can work with it.
Well, first I just want to say the work works.
Ooh.
The work
That's a
works,
fact.
y'all.
First of all, I just love how 6 comes in so smooth and
Y'all
so
are dumb.
sultry.
First
Like,
of all.
first of all, 94.7 The Waves.
You're dumb.
Spaghetti.
On your radio dial.
Go to Spaghetti.
Kevin Slow Jam and James.
You just showed your age. Talking about some
Kevin Slow Jam and James. You better get with it.
94.7 The Wave.
Thank you. Now,
Was y'all at Spaghetti Brunch?
what?
What?
Y'all don't remember Spaghettinis?
Nah, girl.
I thought y'all was
I was
a
in
little
the house.
older.
Nah, we're not that old.
Damn.
50s or 40s?
No, because I was at Spaghettinis. Don't play. Because my dad is older.
I was about to say, who was you with, baby?
Right, yeah.
But you don't remember when they would say, go to Spaghettinis on? Y'all don't
No.
remember?
No.
Anyone who knows,
We're not
comment
that
below,
old.
because y'all are going to make me feel crazy. Okay, anyway, someone thought I was 21 the other day.
We'll take it.
Get into it. Go.
So like I was saying, the work works. And a lot of times, so I have an interesting journey, but it's not unique because we all have to go through this at some point. And those who skip the work usually live a very basic and banal lifestyle. They wake up unimportant to anyone.
Damn.
You have to do the work, and we all find ourselves in this space at some point in time or another. But what happens is, what I have to highlight and amplify right now, when you're going through that process, is lonely. It's a very lonely process. And a lot of times people don't like to be alone because as soon as the lights go off, them thoughts start to beat them up. So that's why part of the work is strengthening your thought life.
What is a thought life?
Your thought life is what you tell yourself.
I was just talking about
And part of the thought life is the tree, and that tree has many branches. Because outside of what you tell yourself is also what you give consent to. Anytime anybody tell us anything, you're short, you're tall, you fat, we have to assign emotional consent for it to mean something. So in order to fully love yourself and move on to the next echelon, you have to be in full control of your thought life. Without that, you can't. It's impossible. It's impossible because your thought life is part of your mindset. And your mind can set you free or your mind can set you back. That's why it's called mindset. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And inside of that, isolate, ruminate, germinate, and then elevate.
Tell me what Germinate is about.
Germinate is like how a seed sprouts and grows. You get what I'm saying? So when you're doing the work, you got to isolate because you can't contaminate yourself. You cannot heal yourself in the same environment that made you sick. And your old friends cannot produce a new you. If they could, you'd be new already. So you have to remove yourself from that environment so you can isolate and don't confuse their thoughts with your own thoughts or the thoughts of God. You got to isolate yourself. And once you isolate yourself, then your creator is going to show you who you are, who you really are. And you're not going to like that.
Nope.
You're not going to like who you really, but this is part of the process. You know how when a drug addict got to kick them drugs and that first 3 days they start throwing up. When your creator show you who you are, that's how it's going to make you feel. But it is necessary because you have to unlearn those bad habits to relearn new habits that's conducive to where you're going and isolate. See, no one has ever seen anyone get their shit together. I'm going to repeat that. No one has ever seen anyone get their shit together. What happened was that person disappeared. You didn't see him or hear from him for a while, and all of a sudden they pop back up and they was looking better, feeling better, and doing better. And you're like, oh shit. You didn't see it. You don't hear a tree grow.
Damn.
The problem is a lot of y'all want to be on the scene. You still want to be seen. You have to remove yourself from them environments. You got to change I like to say you have to buy change on a wholesale basis. A lot of y'all be making these changes, but these little bitch ass changes. You got to buy change on a wholesale basis. Change where you hang out at. Change who you talk to day to day. Change the music you listen to. Change the way you dress. When I made that transition from being a gangster, a tyrant, a thug, a degenerate, wayward, to being a distinguished, polished, urbane, respectable, righteous man, I had to stop hanging where I was hanging. I had to stop talking to who I was talking to. Because whatever you talking or listening to, see, your ear is the biggest gateway to your soul. We know the eyes are a gateway to the soul, but the ears is the biggest gateway. Because what you hear become part of your thoughts. Your thoughts become part of your mood and your physicality. Then that becomes part of your behavior. And your behavior, the result of that is the life you have now. So you got to control what you're listening to and who you listening to. That's why it's better to isolate. So you can ruminate and on everything where you went wrong at your childhood and start purging yourself of that baggage. I had baggage as a child. I remember my big brother, who's no longer with us, he's about 7 or 8 years older than me. I remember being in elementary, I used to come home. I used to hate my lips. I had big lips even back then. And I would hate my lips. And he'd be like, and he was about 8 years older than me. So I'm 7 and he's 15. And I'm like, I hate my lips. And I used to cry. And he'd be like, boy, don't worry about it. When you get older, them girls, they gonna love. I didn't know what the hell that meant. I'm like, I don't care.
You're right.
I'll change. But he was like, when you get older, you gonna be happy you had those lips.
Because bird lips ain't gonna cut it.
Right, but I had no idea what he was talking about as a 8-year-old boy. But I got older and I was like, oh, the ladies love the lips. So I'm gonna use that analogy, like the things you hate about yourself as you get older, if you heal that becomes your asset. Those things become an asset.
Because this thick,
that's what I was about to say.
It's an asset,
here,
but you have to address it head on.
I'm just kidding.
You have to address it head on, and you have to do the work. A lot of times people like to put cute captions on all their pictures, but it's too much cap in y'all captions. If I can't see the fruits,
it's too much cap in y'all captions.
It's way too much cap in y'all captions. If I can't see the fruits of your thoughts that are tangible, then what are you talking about? Why don't your lifestyle add up to your quotes?
I don't have no quotes on my captions. I just keep them blank.
I ain't knocking people with quotes, but I'm saying the work works, and it's tedious because you have to kind of at least make room for the possibility that every bad thing someone said about you is true. And that's the beginning of the work. Because a lot of times we don't want to believe anything negative about ourselves. But part of doing the work is believing or making room for the possibility that most of the bad things we heard about ourselves is true. Imagine taking your car to the shop and they say something wrong with your alternator. You're like, give me my damn car back. Ain't nothing wrong with my alternator.
But
give me your car back. Give me my car. So if somebody, your friend, best friend, or your ex tell you, man, you are moody. I ain't moody.
As you're being
you
moody.
Mean. I ain't mean.
As you're being
like they done told you what you are, but most of the time we don't want to. I was guilty of that. I was told by many exes and people, you're mean. I'm like, no, I'm not. What the hell are you talking about? But when I went through that process,
what happened? Because you still mean.
I'm about to say.
I'm not mean. I just mean what I say.
No, let me just say this though, because I don't want people to get confused with that advice, because there's a lot of people that hold on to everything negative that people say that might not be right.
He was talking about the drop.
I said
if enough people say it.
Because I don't need no clarity. Make room for the possibility that it is true, so you can audit it. Without auditing everything that you've heard, how do you know? How can you begin to love and trust yourself? You have to audit it, because a lot of times we are told some things that are not savory about ourselves, and a lot of times we just write it off. But if you want to know,
this person's a hater.
If you want to know who you are, believe 75% of the things your ex said about you and 100% of the things your friends say about you during the joke. Because they're going to tell you the truth during the joke.
I'm an asshole, I'm stubborn, I'm offensive.
We wasn't joking about that.
Clearly.
Okay. This real talk from the sidewalk.
I love it.
You better believe 100% of the things your friends say about you in a joke, and then audit it.
Yeah.
Now, how you decide to move on it after you audit it, that's personal. But what I'm saying, you cannot do the work without auditing the diagnosis they gave you.
Sometimes you talk like a pastor. You cannot do the work without the
well, thank you.
I love it.
As long as it's the right work. I did the work. You know, I went from not forget the tangible things. I didn't like myself. When God showed me who I was, I didn't like myself. I was a womanizer. I was out of shape. I was a loser. I was a tyrant. I was a negative, like I was a bully. I was all the things. I was like, damn, this is me. Yeah. Then I had an opportunity to now, see, you didn't know me back then. I had an opportunity to now change those things. I had an opportunity to address that and elevate beyond where I was, but it was lonely. And I didn't take anyone from my past with me. I got to see you moving forward. I'm not holding on to nothing from my past. If we gonna still be whatever we gonna be, we gonna have to be it going forward. I'm gonna have to catch you in that next room. I'm not holding on to friends for nostalgic purposes. I gotta go to that next room. I love you and respect the chapter we had, but now it's time for me to move on. Imagine having a jacket from when you was 12 and now you 32. That's gonna be tight and uncomfortable. Every time you put it on, it's going to be uncomfortable. When you outgrow your friends that you still want to hang around and be in association with day to day, the conversation and the vibes be uncomfortable because you've outgrown that. And a lot of times that's what's keeping you from your own self-love is their image or their thought of you. I'm going to tell a quick story and I'm going to give it up.
Okay.
So I have 3 children, 22, one is going on 18, and my youngest will be 2 in November.
Damn.
My baby.
3 beautiful little girls.
Aww.
Now, my first 2, the time went by quick. It really did. Like, yeah, my daughter Brixton is going on 2. But I remember when Rihanna, which is 22, was Brixton. And I looked up and now she's in the world doing her own thing.
Facts.
So Rael too. They just out of here.
Yeah.
They don't belong to me no more. They belong to the world.
Yeah.
With Brixton, I understand how fast they grow.
Yeah.
So I cherish every moment. This is my 3rd time around. I know she's gonna grow fast.
Yeah.
Right around 9 months, 10 months, when I was feeding her breakfast, I noticed Brixton used to try to grab the spoon because she wanted to feed herself. And then I wouldn't let her because I'm like, nah, don't grow up too fast. I love you. I want to cherish this because I want to cherish this moment.
Yeah.
By the time she hit a year, she was trying to grab the spoon and I like, nah, I'm gonna feed you. Then something all of a sudden came over me. I said, I'm stunting her growth to make her be what I want her to be. And I'm her father. And I'm inadvertently stunting her growth because I want her to be this. And I'm her father. My duty is to protect her and catapult her forward. And I made that mistake. You don't think your friends is making a mistake of trying to keep you be who they want you to be? They gonna keep inviting you to the club. They see you drifting away because that's who they prefer you to be. You have to be careful with that. Because even I was guilty of holding my own daughter back because she wasn't what I wanted her to be. That's why the road to self-love and elevating, part of doing the work is isolation. To make sure you're not being tainted and tarnished by another person's opinion or they need for your current personality. Because who you growing into, they might not like. That might not work for their life. So they're going to keep you right here.
Yeah.
Separation.
Side note, she got
leads to
smarter.
elevation.
Side note, she got smart and refused to eat till you gave her the spoon. So just so you know, you can't hold nobody back for real.
She did.
She really did. She was like,
she's the most precocious child.
She was like, give me the spoon or I'll eat it.
But
no, I was just going to say separation leads to elevation. And that's a fact. And I think that, like you said, being alone with yourself can be scary because you don't want to hear your thoughts. And you don't want to face the reality of
them thoughts come out at night. When skeletons come out the closet
and chase
you all around the room. Them thoughts, they come. That's why a lot of people like to party. They just want to keep going.
Yeah.
To
but
slow
you
down
know
them
what's
thoughts.
crazy is I went to Vegas one time, and when I was in Vegas, I was around a bunch of people like celebrities, all this. I won't even name no names. And when I was out there, this is during a period where I was like shedding a lot of like skin, growing, like becoming more self-aware. And I remember just being out with all these people and I'm just looking at everyone and I'm like, everyone looks so empty. And it almost feels dark and it almost feels like everyone is just here chasing something and they're not getting what it is that they're chasing. And it was like I went to the room and I cried. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I cried all night.
Were you on drugs?
No.
I gotta ask. That sounded like you had a panic attack. type of
the crazy
psychedelic.
the crazy thing about me is I react the opposite. So dejection and separating myself from people was a coping mechanism for me. So I was always alone if I had the chance. Like it was harder for me to commit to go anywhere with anybody. I would be like, I want to be I still kind of want to be at home, but like I didn't get energy through being with other people. Like I don't get energy by being out and I do now, but during that process, I was like, I want to be at home.
Have you ever looked up your human design?
I feel like I've heard of this.
So human design is something that everyone can look up, and it's dope because it can help you. And it's not your numerology number. It's not any of those things. This can help you navigate a little better. And I just learned about it. So like there's projectors and like there's generators. I'm a generator. So I'm someone that can generate my own energy and I can give it to other people. And then there's people who need to get energy from others. You know what I mean? And then there's people that don't. It's like a whole thing. Like, so it's interesting when you look that up.
You take like a quiz or it just
it's a quiz.
Okay,
it's not that type of quiz. You literally just have to put in like your birth date and stuff like that.
I think I have heard of it, yeah.
But it's dope because some of those things can help you like understand yourself a little better. But yeah, for me, it's like I can tell that I get fueled around social interactions. Like that fuels me. I love it. That, like you said, I'm a vibe chaser, but
she's not gonna let that one go 6 ever.
She is though. She knows she
is. I'm not a vibe chaser, y'all. I like the vibe.
How not?
Because I am the vibe. So how am I chasing the vibe if I'm already the vibe?
Then y'all remember that, guys, when y'all listen. He is the vibe. You don't have to provide nothing. You come as is. Okay. It's her job.
So she don't need a vibe now.
I know, but you know what? I'm going to just say this. I just want to say this story really quick. One time I remember I went on a date with this guy. This is a while ago, long time ago. And he had a boat and everything. And he took me on his boat.
Everything.
Yeah, because it was like a fly situation. He took me on his boat. And
boat?
Right.
Or because a boat, that could be a canoe.
It was
like
if I'm saying you out on a
damn, you don't tell me about no story about no damn canoe.
If it's a fly situation,
why would it be a canoe?
Because I don't know. She talking about a long time ago. I don't know.
No,
they was out there.
All right, you on this yacht?
I'm on the yacht. We go, and I remember telling myself, you know what? I'm gonna stop carrying the vibe because I know me. Like I'm always carrying it, and then half of the time I have to realize. Y'all ain't even really that vibe. Y'all not even like that good of a conversationalist. Y'all don't really have good energy. Y'all don't really bring nothing. So it's really just me carrying it constantly. And sometimes that shit gets heavy. So I was like, this time I'm just not going to say anything. And I'm just going to be chill. And I'm going to see if he brings something. I was on that boat, y'all.
Bored.
Silence. Yeah. Like we literally had nothing going on the entire boat ride. And I was like, wow, this is so dry. I got off that boat. I never talked to that man again. And he still, like, not now, but he was hitting me up like back then, like, yo, what happened? What's up? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's just not nothing. That's why now when I meet someone that is can reciprocate that energy and we have a great flow, like it just means the world to me. It really does. Cause I love it.
That's a great story. Now I want to get back because people
that was plugged for
what reason?
That was a great story. I don't know, but people are out here trying to find self-love and really elevate. So I really want to keep hammering home what it takes because and that's beautiful. We're in a time where everybody want to manifest, but there's a task that goes along with that. Ooh. And you have to do the work. And people are skipping the work and just like writing things down 3 times a day. You're not manifesting. You just wasting pens and pencils and shit. Like it takes more than writing it down.
But you can't skip the work.
You can't. But you have to listen, guys. Your physicality and your mentality have to already be dwelling in the place whom you want to be. That's why you're a human being. You have to already be that in your physicality. Talk like that. Walk like that. Dress like that. Dress how you want to be addressed.
Ooh.
You understand what I'm saying? Go to that next level in your mind and take your physicality with you. Because once your physicality and your mentality marries that new echelon, then it becomes your reality.
Let me share something that I learned with you guys that is really dope and helped me when I was just trying to navigate who I want to be. You create an alter ego. and you write down every single thing that you want to be like. So this alter ego is like, okay, I'm someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. I go to the gym. I do Pilates every other day. I manifest. I meditate. I only deal with people that pour into me. I pour into them. Like, you write very detailed and specific about what this person would do every day if you were the ideal person.
Right, that's exactly what I told you.
And
I've heard of
that. And when you write that out, then you start to become that person. You start to say, okay, this is exactly what it would look like if I was this alter ego. And every day you just become that alter ego. Like, okay, because I can't see, because a lot of the times when we're manifesting and we want to become something, it's hard to see yourself in that place. And so instead of forcing yourself to see that, because I know people struggle with that, instead of that, you can create an alter ego if it's easier to see it in that light. And then every day you're like, I'm this alter ego today. Today I'm going to be Jessica, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wake up, and then like as you continue to be consistent with that, you'll look up and this is who you are now. The habits that you're creating every day become the person that you want to be.
But don't call it an alter ego, because then you are separating yourself. You separating yourself from who you really are. That's who you are.
But it's
not an also. It's who you. It's who you
like
are.
Scientific study that they do.
That's how you. That's how you switch. It's like switching a radio station. That's how. Short story. It was a dude we was in junior high school with named Bo. Bo was considered a punk. He was getting bullied all the time, and he was a punk. Right around high school, Bo started hanging with the tough guys, and they like, man, look at him pretending to be hard, pretending to be tough.
Until he socked your ass.
Right around our senior year, Bo was shooting people.
Oh,
and they were like, Bo
not socking, shooting.
Bo think he a gangster. Bo don't think shit. He's already shot 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who the Bo you know don't exist no more.
Mm-hmm.
Bo is a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
He hung around gangsters. He did what gangsters did, and he is a gangster. You can play with Bo if you want to, but Bo is not pretending or who he think he is. So use that analogy. Let Bo become a parable. Mm-hmm. That's why as a human being, when I transform, exactly what she said, I swear it works. Mm-hmm. I wrote down everything I wanted, the kind of cars I wanted to drive, how I wanted my wife to look, the house, the neighborhood, what I wanted people to say about me, the type of clothes I would. So when I didn't know what to do, right? Because if you can't think for a person you never been, I would look at that piece of paper and say, what would this person do? Mm-hmm. Would this person get up at 5 a.m. or keep sleeping to 11? Would this person be chasing women or be putting that time into his dream? Mm-hmm. That became my compass. So write down, and it works. Everything I have is all the things that were in my mind. But if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Period. Right. You just have to be willing to do the work. So write down everything you want out of life and use that as a compass. And when you find yourself deviating, you say, what would this person right here on this piece of paper do? Mm-hmm. That is the beginning of the journey to self-love. There's no way you can love letting people walk all over your boundaries. There's no way you can love feeling lackadaisical, lazy, and living life without a purpose. So you have to remove all them impediments so you can get to that, and you can have a sustained sense of happiness.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of my favorite quote. It's the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I have it all over my house. I have it written down in a lot of different places. But I think I understand it on a deeper level in like the last maybe 6 months to a year. Because I think we forget that where we are today, like where you are in this moment, is based on a set of decisions you made in the past, right? So you made those decisions, and here you are. I decided I wanted to have a job. I decided I wanted to double my income. I decided I wanted to be self-sufficient. I decided I wanted to be helpful, got a therapist, started reading. I made those decisions 10-ish, 15 years ago. Right. So with that understanding of the power that you have, it's like every day you get to redecide, even if it's the same thing, but you have to stay hinged to the decision you made to plummet you in the direction that you want to go, because it takes time. You don't get pregnant and have a baby the next day. It has to gestate, right? You have to be pregnant for 9 months for the most part to have a baby. You can't. So I used to have this other thing in my mind where I'd be like, oh, I get it. Because it was the equivalent of like, I want something, you plant it. And then because you don't have it the next day, you don't have fruit the next day, you go back and dig the seed up. Like, why would you go dig it up? You got to water it. You got to make sure it stays covered and whatever you got to do, plant growth, whatever. You have to, that's the work. And I had to realize that, like, this cognitive dissonance of it takes time and being okay in that time, in that journey, in that space where you're at, where you don't necessarily see it yet. But your belief system, your mindset keeps it fed, keeps it watered, not talking against it. Like, you can't go, that's the equivalent of digging your seed up, talking against the very thing. So I love what you guys are saying about writing it down, but I think the level behind that is your mindset too, because you could write it down all day, but if you go tell everybody all day, like, I'm not going to get it.
Right.
Then
but that's the first thing I said is your thought life.
Yeah. And I think that the thought life is big. And I think I used to get so overwhelmed about the thought life thing because I used to think, like, I have so many thoughts. I'm an overthinker. So every day I'm like, how am I going to control all of these thoughts? Like, what can I do to regulate my thoughts? And I started, like, listening to Abraham Hicks and listening to Joe Dispenza and just
Save my life, bro.
Save my life. And I told someone this the other day, but one practice that I learned is instead of trying to fight all these thoughts, you have to just let them come in, allow them to pass, because it's almost like a detox. We hold on to the thoughts instead. We overanalyze them, we overthink them, and then next episode we're in a spiral thinking about all of this stuff. But if you allow a negative thought to come in, like, let's say my negative thought is, oh my God, I look so bad. All you do is allow that thought to pass and replace it with a positive one. What is the opposite of, oh my God, I look so bad? Oh my God, I feel and look amazing. And you tell yourself that until you start to believe it. And I know a part of that feels sometimes silly or delusional because you don't necessarily believe it, but you'll be surprised how much your mind controls the way that you feel. Like, everything.
It's just a computer.
Yeah. Everything that you tell it.
Yeah.
Is a reflection of how you truly feel. And I think that we spend majority of our time in our mind. So if we learn how to control our thoughts and switch those negative thoughts that we have for ourselves to a positive one every single time it comes in, you will see a significant difference.
Well, let me add to that.
I have
because there's an other side.
There is another side of that.
You can't just do mentality.
You can't.
You need physicality too. You have to physically be doing the things that make you feel good.
We were just
mentality plus physicality will equal your reality. Because you could tell yourself, oh, I love myself and I love myself. But then you pick up the phone when somebody who don't love you call you and you go run back to the same trap. Yeah. You're not using your physicality. Because if you spend your life chasing after people who don't love you, if you don't love yourself, you're going to spend your whole life chasing after people who don't love you either. So it ain't just mental. Literally, and I'm telling y'all, literally, I love this topic from experience. Because I literally went from, and I'm a guy with no college education. I don't even know what street college is on.
College Street.
I guess.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I went from nothing essentially to an abundance.
Yeah.
Everything I have, I am a dream catcher. I live in my dream home that I built from scratch with all my dream furniture, with my dream wife, with my dream baby, little beautiful baby, and I drive my dream cars, have my dream career, built my dream bit. Like, I'm living not just a car. I don't just live in a car. I don't just have a wife. I don't just live in a house. This is my dreams that I saw. But I'm telling y'all what it took to get here. We all have it inside of us. The environment either is like, even where I'm at now, I'm doing my backyard and I have to get a certain tree. Certain plants will die where I'm at. It has to be in the right environment. That's why isolation is important, because some of y'all are trying to grow, but you're in the wrong environment to grow. You got to go remove yourself from that environment and isolate so that you can ruminate, germinate, and then elevate.
And your thoughts are just like a seed. The work is the watering. So it's like you plant the seed, you change those thoughts, and then you do the work behind it, which is not answering that call, setting your boundaries, all of that stuff.
Well, let's not forget that mindfulness is also observation. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's a fact. Let's not forget that your brain is inside of a black tunnel, hole, whatever y'all want to call it. It has no idea what's going on. It's using your sensories, your responses to know what is going on in the outside world. It is, I think it's called objective. It has no idea.
Yeah.
It does not know until you tell it is true. Mm-hmm. So your thoughts are not always true. It doesn't mean you need to react on them. So sometimes you just got to go, Mm-hmm. So let's say I am having a certain day. I can honestly say, and I'm going to try not to cry, but I honestly can say that I don't know how long, but I can walk past the mirror and be like, oh, hey, love you. Like, I love who I see in the mirror. Literally love who I see in the mirror, no matter what. My hair can be like this. I'm like, look at those brows, though. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have to, if I'm feeling a certain type of way, I don't have to water it. I don't have to give it power. I don't have to say oh yeah, well, no, I'm beautiful instead. Like, who I am in that mirror, if I don't feel right, oh, what's going on? Go inside and ask yourself some questions like, what's up? Like, oh, you know what? I'm feeling a little bit like this because work, my boss kind of, okay, well, let's deal with that. You're not ugly. You just don't feel good. So sometimes you kind of navigate what's going on. But for the most part, I just let thoughts pass. I just go, oh, it's like a freeway. You see a tree. Oh, the tree goes by. You don't give
it power.
You don't give it power.
Were you always like that?
Hell no.
That's something you grew up.
That's called emotional. We talked about that. Emotional consent.
Yeah.
You give things, you assign emotional value.
Yeah.
And I learned that. And it's something that Azar was saying about how she is the vibe, how she is self-sustained and she can give power to other people.
Yeah.
I feel if you can find that within yourself, you can find happiness because you're self-sustained. Like the happiness, and Jen is an advocate of this. She say this in a different way almost every episode.
It's true.
Her happiness is drawn from herself. Mm-hmm. Her confidence is drawn from herself.
It has to be.
If you are dependent on other people, then your confidence and everything else that's dependent on other people is going to be fickle. It's going to waver because people vacillate. But if you can draw that kind of power from within, then you're omnipotent. Mm-hmm. If you need other people's approval, then you're finite.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, this was a deep episode.
Yeah, we got a couple. Any final
thoughts?
I have 2 thoughts and I'll wrap myself.
Okay, go ahead.
So one thing that I learned too that really, really helped me is that stop taking things personal. It is not about you. 99.9% of the time, no one is thinking about you. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a reality. When they go home and sleep at night, they're probably not thinking about you. So it's okay. So I have just learned to not take anything personal. I've had several things where people are like, dang, that didn't hurt your feelings. Like, no, because it's not about me. Unless you come up to me and say, Jennifer, I have a problem with you. I would like to sit down with you and talk this through. I consider myself absolved from any responsibility for how you feel. 2, do the work. Go ahead.
That's it for me, you guys. It was a great episode. You got any last words, Six?
I just want to say the road to self-love and elevation is a long road, a long mental road. There's mental battles right there that you have to fight. But just do the work and learn how to respect the space in between what has gone and what is coming. You can't rush it. Don't rush the process. Trust the process. And that's all I would say.
Okay.
Do you have a book? Well, I'm sorry. Do you have a book? I have one book. Do you have a book?
I give my book on the next episode. Okay. Give your book this episode.
Oh, The Untethered Soul by Michael A.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Read it, learn it, listen to it. As a Man Thinketh, I'll give you one more by James Allen. Those 2 books are on rinse and repeat for me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Great suggestions. The work works. Everything that you want is hiding in the work that you're avoiding. So just do it.
Just do it.
Okay.
Like Nike.
And thank you guys for joining us. I hope you learned something from this episode. And if you're battling with anything, depression, or just trying to find the love within yourself, hopefully we gave you some tips.
Tip top tips.
Tip top tips. We love y'all and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right, guys, that is it. We have ran out of time. But if you like what you heard or disagree with what you heard today, please let us know. Follow us on Instagram at the UAF Podcast, and also like and subscribe to our YouTube, the UAF Podcast. Again, we always read your comments and we always respect your perspective. Thank you for tuning in. This is the UAF crew, and as always, we are not sorry.